Western Ghats, or as they are fondly called as the Sahyadris, a chain of volcanic mountains running north to south and parallel to west coast of India. Recognized world over for their beauty and their ecological significance. These ranges are the lifeline of peninsular India. Scattered across these mountains lie the flat-topped plateaus, rugged beds of lateritic rock and red soil. In the heat of summer, they appear lifeless, dry, parched. The grass turns yellow, waving weakly in the hot breeze. A lonely road winds through this barren expanse, with only a faint green horizon in the distance. Walk across the plateau and shallow depressions will appear, now dry, cracked and empty. Once the fragile Colon found life, but without water, it has withered away. And then the sky changes. Nimbus clouds gather above, the air thickens, the first drops fall, and suddenly life returns on this plateau. The plateaus transform before our eyes, from desolation to abundance. Shades of green sparkle across the land. Every rock patch bursts with grass. Every depression fills with water. Gentle ripples shimmer in the breeze. A rhythm of waves, a melody of nature. Soothing, healing, a natural stress reliever. And from these waters, tiny shoots emerge, the rebirth of Colon. This ancient cycle of death and renewal continues year after year. In the year of 2005, about 20 years back, on the plateaus of Ratnagiri, another wonder was filmed. A delicate, sweet-smelling flower, Dipcadi cocanens, endemic, ephemeral, and enchanting. We witnessed its full life cycle, from the first buds to flowering and to the final seed pods. During the same time, in the year of 2005, its seeds had been collected. Though the buds grew and flowered outside their home, the seeds never formed. Year after year, Dipcadi weakened. Flowers gave away to birds, then only leaves. Professor Dr. Bachulkar explained.
Now the plants like the Dipcadi cocanensis that we found on the plateaus, generally in the Konkan region, endemic to Konkan region, and some specific group of the insects which found in the Konkan region as responsible for the pollination of the Dipcadi cocanensis. But when we tried this Dipcadi cocanensis to cultivate away from the natural habitat, that is away from the Konkan and about 350 kilometers away from the Konkan, we found that there is no fruiting formation in the Dipcadi cocanensis, because the specific group of the insects which is required for the pollination of the Dipcadi cocanensis we never found away from its natural habitat. That's why whenever we cultivate the plants artificially away from their natural habitat, at the beginning they give the flowering, but in absence of their pollinator, they could not get pollinated, they could not get fertilized, and no fruit formation and no seed formation occurs. That's why the reproduction of such kinds of the plants stops for the ever. And the same conditions we found in this Dipcadi, whatever you have shown to me. At the beginning, whenever we cultivate this Dipcadi cocanensis plant away from the natural habitat, at that time, at the beginning, it produces the flowers, but they could not able to produce the seeds and the reproduction stop. And finally, the vegetative growth of this plant is also get suppressed because the microclimatic conditions we cannot get provide artificially in the habitat which are away from the natural habitat of the plant.
The plant's survival depends not just on soil or rain, but on its entire ecosystem, its pollinators, its companions, its home, and all put together. More than a decade later, we returned, and what we found was breathtaking. The plateau was a sea of white, countless blooms of Dipcadi coconuts, swaying gently in the monsoon breeze. The air was cool, moist, and filled with birdsong and the soft patter of rain. And within it, a fragrance, sweet fragrance, wild and unforgettable Dipcadi coconuts. This flower was first described in the year of 1851 by the Scottish botanist Nicol Alexander Dalzell. He named it as Europetalon coconuts. Later, in the 1880s, British botanist John Gilbert Baker reclassified it as Dipcadi coconuts. Today, this plant remains rare, threatened, and fragile. Its existence is restricted to the Sahyadris alone, and that too at few plateaus of Ratnagiri and Sindhudurga district of Maharashtra. Pollination here is subtle, almost hidden, mostly carried out by moths in the twilight hours or aided by the wind. The flowers feed moths during the early days of monsoon, playing a vital role in this delicate web of life. Seed pods swell behind them, birds dart between the blooms, and the land hums with synergy, a harmony of life, both biotic and abiotic, woven into nature's masterpiece. The plateaus of the Sahyadris are truly a gift from the gods. Let the plateau remain as is, undisturbed and untouched. Let the strong wind churn the life on plateaus. Let the heavy downpours lash the water bodies. And let the droplets bounce back from water bodies. Let the banyan trees drink deeply the rains. And let the Dipcadi coconuts continue to bloom, not just for today, but for all the time to come.